The very first cameras ever made were so big that people had to literally sit inside them. And no, that's not a joke. Imagine a dark box with a small hole and a painter inside tracing what the light projected. That device was called the camera obscura. It wasn't taking pictures yet, but it started everything. Fast forward 5 centuries, and today over 7 million digital cameras were shipped in 2023. Out of those, more than 7 million were from Japanese brands. If you draw that on a pie chart, it would look exactly like Japan's flag. So what happened? How did a country that didn't invent the camera end up owning the entire industry? Let's rewind. Europe had the head start. Back in 1826, Joseph Nicephore Niepce took the first permanent photo using a camera obscura and a light-sensitive plate. The photo was literally a view from his window. Not the best composition, but it became the oldest photograph in existence. From there, things evolved fast. We got film rolls, color photography, and smaller portable cameras. Germany was the clear leader, with brands like Leica and Zeiss setting the bar for optical precision. America had Kodak, which brought photography to the masses, and Japan? Still quiet at that point. But in the 1930s, names like Canon and Nikon started to appear. The funny thing is, those early Japanese cameras were basically replicas of German ones. Canon's first camera, Hansa Canon, looked almost identical to the Leica 2, and Nikon's lenses were modeled after Carl Zeiss optics. Even Nikon's name reflects that. Nippon Kogaku merged with Zeiss Icon, implying Japan's own version of the German legend. Then came World War II, and that's where the story takes a sharp turn. During the war, camera companies across the world were forced to build military equipment. Nikon, for instance, made a 15-meter rangefinder for Japan's battleships. It sounds odd, but that wartime demand pushed them to improve their optical engineering at lightning speed. After the war, Germany's camera industry was shattered, factories destroyed, companies split between East and West. Japan's factories were also bombed, but the US occupation took a very different approach. America wanted Japan to recover and become a strong capitalist ally. So they poured resources into rebuilding Japanese industries, including optics and manufacturing. And out of that came cameras like the Nikon Model I and the Canon IVS-B, which were sold to American soldiers stationed in Japan. Those soldiers took them back home, showing the world how capable Japanese cameras had become. Here's where philosophy comes into play. Post-war Japan adopted a principle called Kaizen, which translates to continuous improvement. It wasn't just a corporate slogan, it became a national mindset. Kaizen encouraged small, constant upgrades instead of chasing big one-time leaps. Toyota used it in car production, and the same discipline found its way into camera manufacturing. Workers were encouraged to make minor but smart refinements to lenses, shutters, and film mechanisms. Over time, those small tweaks led to major leaps in quality and reliability. That's why by the 1950s, Japanese cameras were not only cheaper, but also consistently well built. The world started to notice. The real breakthrough came when Japan shifted its focus to SLR cameras, single-lens reflex systems. Before that, photographers used rangefinders like the Leica M3, or twin-lens designs like the Rolleiflex, which didn't show the exact image being captured. The SLR solved that with a mirror system, and later a pentaprism that fixed the reversed image. Japan nailed it. The Nikon F and Canon Flex in 1959 defined the SLR era. Then models like the Pentax Spotmatic and Olympus OM1 refined that idea. Smaller, lighter, and mechanically perfect. The turning point came during the Korean War when photojournalist David Douglas Duncan used Nikon lenses in combat. His photos impressed editors at Life magazine, who noticed how sharp and contrasty they looked. That moment put Japanese optics on the map. By the 1960s, Japan was producing millions of cameras each year and had officially surpassed Germany. Then came the next big shift: digital photography. Kodak actually invented the first digital camera in 1975, but they didn't pursue it. They were too busy selling film, which was making them a fortune. Japanese companies, on the other hand, saw the future clearly. Sony introduced the Mavica in 1981, a magnetic video camera that marked the start of electronic imaging. Later, the Nikon D1 in 1999 and Canon EOS 1D in 2001 brought digital SLRs into the professional world. Fujifilm joined in with its FinePix series, making digital more affordable and practical for everyday users. And even today, Japan still holds the foundation. The image sensor in your iPhone is made by Sony. The Canon EOS R5, Nikon Z8, and Fujifilm X100VI all carry that same DNA of craftsmanship, balance, and relentless refinement. So, in a way, Japan didn't just dominate the camera industry, it shaped what photography feels like today. From painters in boxes to mirrorless marvels that fit in your palm, the journey is remarkable. But the real story isn't only about machines. It's about discipline, the kind that keeps improving quietly until perfection becomes natural. Next time you pick up a Nikon, Canon, Sony, or Fujifilm, you're holding more than a camera. You're holding nearly 2 centuries of innovation, built through patience, precision, and a culture that never stopped improving.